This is it, everyone. Welcome to the end of the world. There's no escape, so brace yourselves because a giant comet is hurtling towards Earth in 3, 2... No, I'm kidding, obviously. Not about the apocalypse. No, that's still happening. Just the fact that it's happening in the next 3 seconds. We didn't have a zombie apocalypse, but we did face a 3-year-long global pandemic that has left us in economic and psychological ruins. We did not have a nuclear war, but we are under a constant threat of it. There's been a social upending of political institutions in the recent years, ecological decline, catastrophic weather events. The world has literally been on fire for the past few years. And in this universe, we don't have that one hero who's going to go to the center of the earth or to outer space to save us all. No, we must save ourselves. And the systems and institutions that are to blame for the current state of our world are simply too large for us to tackle alone. So we must save ourselves. We need to look inside and start with what we can change. And to do that, we must rediscover our curiosity, reignite our passion, and stop ourselves from accelerating towards this bleak future by preventing ourselves from losing our imaginations to the harsh realities of our world. The world can literally be saved with one word: dreams. I know this word is everywhere nowadays. It's on your Pinterest board, in that cringy Tumblr code, and it's on your profile picture. But I want you to think about a single dream, not the dream you had now or the one you had 2 years ago, but the very first one. The one you had without the fear of the future or failure, without knowing about the realities of our world. Because that dream is going to be the key to saving us all. Because I used that dream to save my world. And I'm going to show you how you can use that dream to save your and our collective future. So think about it. What was it? Did you want to be a tap dancer, a marine biologist, maybe a princess of a faraway kingdom? Mine was to be an astronaut and superhero extraordinaire who is going to save the universe. I made spacesuits out of foil paper stolen from the kitchen, jumped around cardboard boxes, a super advanced moon base, really, and tried to save it from evil Timmy the cat. I engaged in dangerous shenanigans of science, like building a homemade rocket out of cheap metal and black powder, which honestly surprises me to this day how I have both my arms intact. But I never had that fear instilled in me. No. And perhaps in a rush of extreme hope, some might even call it naivety, my dream lived on. It persevered. Through curiosity that burnt itself crimson across the night sky, under which my dad and I would take midnight walks, talking about stars and the singularities they left behind, escaping from the claustrophobic nature of our house, one that was full of snakes and one that we shared with 12 other people in the edge of the industrial town where most of the poor migrant families lived at that time. And that one room, it fit me, my parents, and all the belongings that we'd brought across the world. But one thing it was too small for was that dream and the hopes and ambitions that it brought along with that continued to grow and grow and grow. And I had my curiosity, an abundance of it. I had what perhaps the lucky 3% of girls in my community get, which is belief and choice. And however, I was missing one thing, one fundamental thing, and that was opportunities. And despite the fact that we rarely get to choose what opportunities we get in life, opportunities define us in a way that a lot of other things don't. Who we are, what we are, how we become it. And as you can imagine, I had none. And I'm going to sound like an old Asian parent for a second, so bear with me. But for the first few years of my high school, I went to a community school that had scarce resources for even the basic necessities. And I felt like my only option was to slug through school, get a degree, another degree, and a job. And to someone who loved discovery and science as much as me, this felt terrifying, bitter. I felt lost because who was I if not the girl who loved the stars? Who was I if, not to toot my own horn, but who everybody in middle school thought was going to build a time machine? No. I was terrified, really. And this cycle was so scary because it felt like all of that colorful nature of my curiosity, of that childhood shenanigans, that science, engineering, all of it would dissolve to that same predestined nature that everyone in our community shares, one of simple existence. Now, the answer to this dilemma was pretty simple, one that admittedly took me months, maybe a few tears to get to, but I'll give you the answer right now. When you don't have any opportunities, you simply make your own. Think about it for a second. Imagine you've lived your entire life in a cottage. It's safe, it's comfortable, but one day that you decide that you want to see the world. You want to get out there, visit the city maybe. So you grab your backpack, and as you're going out the door, you notice that no one has ever built a road for you. So now you have two options in front of you. The first one is you go back inside, slip under the covers, and you wait. You wait and you wait and you wait until somebody builds that road for you. But that could take years for someone to even notice the road needs to be built. By then, your back's hurt, your knee aches, and you're simply too old to get out there anymore. The moment has slipped. It's gone. Your second option is that you could struggle through the friction of the grass and the sand, maybe get lost a couple of times in the woods, and end up somewhere in the middle. Not at your cottage, but not in the city either. You've seen some things, but you've not seen it all. You've done some things, but you've not done it all. But if you're an innovator like me, you would have noticed that I lied. There is a third option. There always is. And it's pretty simple. I kind of also already give you a spoiler, but that is you build your own road. And now, I am by no means a construction connoisseur. I can't tell you how to build a road. But I can use this metaphor to show you how you can build your own opportunities to revive that dream. The one that, again, is the key to stopping the end of the world. So here's how you do it in 4 very simple steps. The first one is you lay out your tools. What is it? Maybe a shovel, right? You take the shovel, but you don't start digging yet. No. You hold it in your hands. Oftentimes, before we even start, we think, oh, our arms are too small, the shovel is too heavy, the work is too hard. And then we become afraid. So hold the shovel in your hands, feel it, familiarize yourself with it, understand what you're capable of. Second, you draw a map. Where do you want to go? Where do you want this road to lead? Do you want to take the long way, the short way? What are your end goals? Now, the third thing is that you engage with the people around you. And I know this world that we live in is built on individuality, but we are nothing without the people around us. Every leader, builder, innovator needs people around them, needs opinion, teamwork, support, companionship. You might not think a chef can help you build a road, but he or she can provide you with a warm meal, words of motivation that can go a long way to help you building that road. Now, lastly is the materials. Now, for the sake of this metaphor, I can't just let you go to a store and buy concrete, right? No, that would be too easy. So what do? We become resourceful. Look around you. We think that oftentimes we have less than what we really do. Collect it. Maybe sand, sticks, stones, rocks, whatever it is, gather it. And even if the only thing in your possession is your persistence, your determination, take it and start building. Your road doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be functional. Now, you have built your road, and that is how I, determined to keep my identity as a space girl, started building my own space and robotics club. Now, it might not seem like much now, but at the time it was really large, the highest student-led club of its caliber at that time. And it was a struggle to even get it started. It was an idea that was new and unfathomable. I had to find the right people, write up about a dozen of proposals, and find the right funding. Have you ever tried to get funding from a community school? It's like going to a doctor's office without an appointment. It's difficult. But it all paid off when I finally got to introduce scientific and robotic competitions that led way to teaching underprivileged kids about STEM education. I was able to lead workshops to the future Marie Curie's, Katherine Johnson's, Kalpana Chawla's. I was able to give lectures on multiverses, black holes, you name it. And the beautiful thing about road is that not only can you walk on it, but you can also allow others to do the same. And eventually, once you've walked long enough, the road will converge to other larger roads that will take you further. And so I went on, continued in my journey, and became a climate activist with the Arab Youth Climate Movement. In fact, this very morning, I was knee-deep in fossil of marine mammals, trying to save our climate and our environment. I joined the Qatar National Robotics team and built many marine engineering projects. But my favorite, most special project was building the nanosatellite prototype. It was about this big, right? But to me, it felt bigger, greater, like an affirmation of that one dream. And when I saw that nanosatellite, CubeSat as we call it, float up into the sky, become one with the sky, it was exhilarating. Like I finally got to be part of the world that I had spent so much time fighting to just be a part of, just create and discover and build for. And fight I did. First, I fought for my identity. Now I fight for opportunities. And now, at the present time, I fight because I can. When I joined Doha Debates as their ambassador, I was keen to bring my voice to a place that had not seen people like me ever. And I was able to do incredible things with dialogue. I met influential people, discussed gender equity, human rights with them. I was able to engage in dialogue, diplomacy with people all around the world. But most importantly, I never stopped to be afraid of myself, of who I am, what circumstances I come from. None of that mattered. And there is a large distance of time and space from who I was when I first had that dream and who I've become now. But my dream of exploration still remains, and whether I become that astronaut, that superhero, that scientist, remains to be seen. But I am leaving my work behind. I am breaking down barriers as I go. And I wouldn't have believed it if you told me I was standing here on this large platform talking to you about it. But here I am. And this is my purpose. This is how I'm saving the world. And in this room, in every person, in every idea, in every moment, there is a possibility of a greater future. There is a possibility of something beautiful. But if you don't believe in it, if you don't do what's necessary to make it a reality and dwell on this terrible apocalyptic future that we've imagined for ourselves, we will resign ourselves to it. So I know how I'm saving the world. What about you? What dream are you using to stopping the end of times? Thank you.